So here is a pretty interesting development going on. It appears that there is something interesting coming from Ilhan Omar. Now, you guys all know about the big controversy about whether or not to withhold votes from Nancy Pelosi in exchange for a Medicare for All floor vote on in the House. Medicare for All currently has I think 100 or more co-sponsors currently, but there's no actual recorded votes on the bill this time around. Although the legislation has been introduced over the years. And what's basically going on is there's this tweet posted by Lee Fang. It says Nancy Pelosi previously sponsored single-payer Medicare for All style health reform. In 1994, she demanded a vote on it. It is interesting to see how under scrutiny, when people take a look at these bills, how brilliantly the single-payer plan stands out. So I want you to check out this video clip.
By reasons of security, by reasons of savings that spring also from the simplicity of the program, savings which spring from early intervention, people seeking and receiving health care earlier in the game so that they don't have more costly health care and hospital stays. Everything points to Mr. McDermott's bill. It is interesting to see how under scrutiny, when people really take the look at these bills, how brilliantly the single-payer plan stands out. And I think it's a tribute to Mr. McDermott's endurance that he has kept this issue alive when others did not think it was so, shall we say, inevitable. In any event, I hope that the committee, I join my colleagues in requesting from the committee the opportunity for this bill to be considered as a substitute under the rule. It has support in my community. It has support across the country. It has support in this Congress. I hope it does on this committee as well. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
I think the President has is on the right track. I think the closer he moves toward the single payer, the better. As I've said before, I hope that this plan, and when I say hope, I mean that I will join with my colleagues here in working to see that the plan that the Congress passes contains as many of the provisions of single payer as possible, that it does not foreclose on an eventual single payer, and that it does not throw up obstacles to states easily establishing their own single payer. Once again, I want to commend Mr. McDermott and Mr. Conyers for their leadership on this. Thank you.
So as you can see there, she is supporting the single-payer healthcare system, and that was in 1993. It was the McDermott-Conyers bill. Now the thing that's a little bit iffy is whether or not it's Medicare for All style health reform, maybe the style. Reading through the 93 McDermott Conyers bill, I'm not really exactly sure even what the crux of it is and how it works precisely. It's kind of confusing. But it essentially evolved over time as it kept being reintroduced every year or every couple years. And so as Bernie Sanders kind of took it up, and I think John Conyers did as well, kind of turned into this very clear Medicare for All system where everybody has Medicare, right? It's kind of the system in Canada, right? Everybody has the national health insurance. Any private insurance is outlawed unless it's filling in the gaps of dental and eye vision, which it's really stupid to have dental and eye vision not covered and, essentially in the private sphere. Dental and eye are just as important as any of your other health, maybe even more important actually, because we know that both of those health is tied to the health of your body. But this is interesting. Obviously, you're seeing Nancy Pelosi being very in favor of this. So again, I'm not sure if this single payer, the bill was the American Health Security Act, I believe it was. Clinton had her own plan back in 93. Bill had his own plan. But that definitely was not really like a Medicare for All plan. Bill's plan was more of Bill and Hillary's plan was much more different than that. There's a lot of different universal healthcare systems, and even some different single payer systems. So kind of jumping into the weeds on that one essentially. But what Ilhan Omar says, right? Ilhan Omar, big member of the squad, she quote tweeted this video saying, "Support for this has tremendous grown since you last supported this, Speaker Pelosi. The current House bill for single payer has more sponsors than the 1993 bill. Let's bring it up for a vote. Healthcare access expansion is Dems' most popular policy, and we need to fight for it." So this is interesting because I'm not really sure what AOC's position is, and this is where these kinds of issues really get into the weeds. I don't know what AOC's position is in terms of just bringing it up for a vote, as opposed to withholding votes with a demand for a Medicare for all floor vote. And similarly, I don't know what Ilhan's position on that is. Is she in favor of, is she saying, I will withhold my vote from Nancy Pelosi? She has not said that just yet. So that is a different situation. But from what AOC was kind of saying, I don't know whether she's in favor of even bringing up Medicare for all for a vote or not. We don't really know. The way that she was saying, we don't have enough votes and opportunity cost and stuff like that, it doesn't seem like she's even in favor of bringing it up for a vote. It would take some effort for sure to kind of bring it up and everything. But there are potential benefits to bringing it up for a vote. Putting people on record for their vote on the issue does give you the ability to kind of weed out fakes that, co-sponsors are not really set in stone. They're not actually voting for it. But will a bill that's going to certainly die and lose in the House, it won't even make it to the Senate, will that also keep some fakes? Certainly. Will it weed out some fakes? Yeah, I think so for sure. So there are potential benefits here for sure to kind of start this movement and have this movement going for Medicare for all, universal health care, single payer system. Are there some potential negatives? Maybe. But what we're seeing is a potential disagreement here with Ilhan and AOC. What's interesting also is Ilhan rejected taking the coronavirus vaccine, basically saying that old people should get it first. Congressional members are not, elites, or they shouldn't be elites, because obviously they are currently as it stands. AOC took the vaccine, giving her, explanation of, I have to take it in order for other people to be confident in the vaccine. I understand both points of view. I do stand more with AOC on that issue than I do Ilhan Omar. But it does seem to be the case that they're having some disagreements here. I would like to see what AOC's opinion. I would like to see two things here. I would like to see AOC's opinion as to whether or not she wants a floor vote at all for Medicare for all. Forget the withholding votes, from Nancy Pelosi in demand for that. Is she generally speaking in favor of pressuring Pelosi for a Medicare for all floor vote? And conversely, I'm curious to see is Ilhan Omar willing to withhold her vote from Nancy Pelosi for a Medicare for all floor vote? Those are two really big questions for me personally. Those are really what I'm looking at here, but you're seeing a potential disagreement between the two, and man, it could really turn into a stark disagreement. I'm not really sure what exactly is going to happen here, but I do see potential benefits to bringing this up for a vote. I do think if it comes up for a vote, it'll probably have around 100 Democrats voting for it. I don't see it making it out of the House. Does that mean it's a bad move? No, not necessarily. It really ends up depending on how people perceive it. Are people going to perceive it as, oh, damn, there's almost half of the House of Representatives, or close to half, I guess it wouldn't hit, 220, so I guess not really getting to half exactly, but, over 100 votes in the House are in favor of it. Does that signal to people that it has a lot of support? Or is that something where, oh, it's not even close to pass? How is the media going to report on it? They're probably going to shit on it. Or are they going to be like, wow, look at all the support? Very unlikely. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see, but it could definitely go both ways. I'm not really sure. I think that we can do that. We also need to make sure to focus on continuing to build our movement and our power in government. Also convincing people on voting for progressive candidates, but we really need to continue to build up more power in terms of getting more representatives in the House, getting more senators in the Senate, trying to get a presidential nominee in these next 8 years, trying to get, more state legislatures to be more progressive and things of that nature. So those are all things that we definitely need to focus on, but it will be interesting to see how this is actually going to pan out.